Hello again, gamers and gamettes, and welcome to another episode of Not So Hardcore Gaming. I'm your host, Jeremy, and today I've got a good friend of mine, Hutchy, on the show.
Hey, how you going?
Today, we're going to do something a little bit different. I like to sort of experiment with things. Instead of just talking about a game every episode, I like to go into a few different topics and have a good discussion about it. And today, the topic we're looking at is basically gamers versus non-gamers, and we're going to discuss a bit about why I enjoy it, and Hutchy's going to say why he personally doesn't play video games. And yeah, it's just going to be a good discussion about it. I hope you enjoy, and let's get into it.
So Jeremy, why do you game? Like, what does gaming do that you enjoy so much for yourself?
Well, for me personally, as I am disabled, very heavily so.
Yeah.
It's sort of, when I first started gaming, it was little things. For example, Madden NFL 11. We used to play on the Xbox. That's one of the very first games I ever played, and I used to play heaps. And I did it for two reasons. One, I always wished I could play sport, for example. Never could. And so it was an outlet, and I found I started enjoying that because I couldn't do it in real life.
You couldn't run, yeah.
Yeah, it was just never an option. And the second reason I did it originally was I was always playing that with my dad. And I'm very close to my dad. I absolutely love him. In fact, we're so close we have the same tattoo.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, on the left forearm we have the emblem of Manly Sea Eagles, the NRL team. And that was sort of to show how close I was with him. And yeah, so when I played, it was always with him, and we would always be listening to music, playing at the same time. And I really loved doing that.
Just connecting, hey?
Yeah, exactly. I felt a lot closer to it, and that, I think, is part of where my love for video games started.
Yeah.
And obviously now I've been doing it for a few extra years. I've got my own console, and I play a lot more, like a lot of different things. And really it has been a case of, because I can't do much in the real world, it's kind of an outlet. You know, to give one example, I started playing UFC 3, and you know that it didn't have that fantasy aspect to it, so it felt a bit more real in a way.
Yeah.
And so I enjoyed doing that, and it's because I just couldn't do it myself. And yeah, that I think is the primary reason. But as well as that, and this is a bit more serious, with my mental health issues that I've had in the past, if I'm sitting idle, not doing much, it just...
You're just overthinking?
Yeah, and there's no way to get my mind off it. So what I do, and I do this pretty much every day, I'll be playing a video game and I'll watch YouTube at the same time. That way I'm multitasking, I'm doing multiple things at once, so my brain doesn't have the capacity to go there, if that makes sense.
Into the dark place.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's sort of, it keeps my mind concentrating on something, and I really do enjoy it. And now, especially because I'm starting a podcast, that's just one extra reason to game, because that's what my podcast is about.
Yeah.
So really, it's a plethora of reasons, and all of it really comes down to it's something to do because I can't do it as much in real life. Yeah.
See, I kind of look at that as kind of putting a Band-Aid over the wound. You're not fully fixing the real deep issue within, but at the same time, I can see that playing games and doing your podcast can bring a lot of joy, which can obviously change your mood and bring a lot of happiness into your life, you know?
Yeah, I can sort of see where you're coming from. That's the thing. But really, depression is different for everyone else, if that makes sense. If 10 million people had depression, they would all experience it differently to another, and different things will work. For me, and oddly enough, I think it comes slightly down to genetics, because my dad had similar mental health issues, and sort of it was the same outlet, so to speak. It was
Yeah.
sort of keep your mind doing other things, and that was the best way not to let yourself go into the dark place, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so for me, really, especially, I've always had sleeping problems until around a year or maybe a bit longer ago. I just, for some reason, couldn't fall asleep until like 5 or 6 a.m.
Yeah.
My body could not sleep any earlier. And if I wasn't doing something up until that point, just being idle, my brain couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And over the last year, because I've really changed my lifestyle a lot, it's come down to a case of I'm doing this, first of all, because I do enjoy it, but it gives me time to work on other things. And, you know, while I'm at home and I'm not able to do as much, it lets me continue coping. It really is just a coping mechanism. It's not so much like a band-aid on it, but it's like stitching it up.
Yeah.
And sure, a stitch can burst, for example.
Yeah.
But then you just stitch
It's just
it back
keeping
up
you
and
together,
continue.
right? It's like the glue.
Yeah.
It's just holding you together. And I mean, being on a farm, being isolated from a lot of people, you know, not being able to go to the gym or having full access to a lot of things that you would hear, it would be a lot harder. So you do need to have that kind of outlet there as well.
Yeah, and if I were physically able, I would be running every day.
Oh,
I would be running constantly because that's what I always wanted to do.
And you appreciate it a lot more now, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and you know, that's why, like, when I'm in the gym, I really enjoy it. But when I'm at home, really, as I said, it's a different way to get a sense of accomplishment.
Yeah.
It can also help people connect, and that's a really good thing for me.
Friends online as well, you know?
Yeah, it's sort of like, even though I don't have a lot of people to do it with, it is sort of a social aspect in the end.
Yeah.
Even if it's not people I regularly talk to, I get that for a while, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, as I said, really, it's what I found helped me get through the day most of the time.
Yeah, as long as it makes you happy at the end of the day.
Yeah, and as I said, a part of it is like a sense of accomplishment. Because there's not as much that I can do. I'll give you an example. You know how Blaze and I will often talk about a game, Bloodborne, which is known to be one of the hardest games ever. Recently, I actually went and platinumed it, which means I got every achievement in it.
Wow, yeah.
And that was the biggest sense of accomplishment because it's one of the most difficult games in existence, and I really felt good. I was like, oh my god, I can't believe I just did that. And it's sort of, you've achieved something.
Yeah, it's a bit of a challenge, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it keeps my mind sharp, and in some ways it actually helped my imagination itself. So really, everything together, there are a lot of small reasons in it, and imagine it like each small reason is a match. Once you put them all together, that's a big flame you've got.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
That's basically how I would explain my love for gaming. It's sort of all these matches together breeds a really big flame of love, so to speak. That's just the best way to say it, yeah.
I guess you become that character and you kind of get lost in the game, you know what I mean? It becomes like another like virtual reality, you know what I mean? You're not thinking about what you're going to have for dinner. You're not thinking about, you know, some issues that are going on. You're constantly in that moment, being that character, doing those challenges.
Yeah,
you know?
And a lot of games that you play, you have choices you can make. And so in a way, you can use your own conscience. And you can say, I want to go and help people. That's what I like to do. I want to help people, even if it's just making them smile or whatever else. I like making other people happy.
Just bringing that good energy to them, you know?
Yeah, and obviously, especially living in such a small area, there are not a lot of people I can do much for.
Yeah.
That's why my friends, I'm always joking with them, always being good, because I like when people around me are laughing and happy. And so, like, in a game, and you have multiple choices you can make, it's good because I can pretend I'm in that moment.
Yeah.
You know, someone's in need of help. What would I do if I was this character? And that's a lot of the time how I play it. It's really a way to achieve all the things I wish I could do, and I know I'm not really able to do in the real life. If that makes sense.
Just expressing yourself a lot more when you're in that environment.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the biggest reason for it.
Yeah,
there's a lot, and it all really comes together. So, with all that being said, why do you not do it as much? Well, what's your view on the matter?
Well, I guess with me, I love gaming, don't get me wrong. It's really fun. But I guess because I'm more able to go and do more things, like activities like football, skateboarding, I can go for a run, I can, do all these types of things. I find that I would rather do that than just sit in front of a TV playing games.
And it would take up a lot of your time.
Oh, I just think there's more important things, in my opinion, to be done. But that's just my view of what I want to do in life. Is kind of like, I want to go do all these certain things, but sitting in front of a TV playing game isn't going to get me to my goals that I want to achieve in my life. Yeah,
that makes perfect sense. And looking at it, if I were in the same position as you, I would definitely have the same view, for sure.
I mean, because that's one of the reasons why you do play games, because you can't do what I can kind
exactly,
of do.
Yeah. And as I said, I can definitely see yours, and I would fully agree with you on that. Yeah.
I mean, as I said before, I love gaming. I think it's a good outlet to have, and it can be, when it's raining, or if it's, when it's nighttime, it is nice to sit in front of the machine and play a few games. Like, I've grown up with my mum, because I'm a single child, so we've had a lot of games that we've played throughout the younger years, so like Ratchet and Clank, Crash Bandicoot, Jak and Dexter, all those type of games. So the only times I mainly do play video games is when it's with me and my mum, and we really bond over those games as well.
Yeah, that's one of the most beautiful parts of gaming, and it's similar to what I was saying, is it really is a reason to bond.
Connect.
Whether it's with your siblings or your parents, or even just a good mate. It's something, enjoying it together, you both enjoy it a lot more.
Yeah.
And so it's a reason to do something together, and it really does help.
Again, it can bring a lot of people together, and it can give people a lot of sense of happiness and joy. Like, I have a friend who constantly plays video games, doesn't go out.
That friend me?
No. Well, yes, you are one of the friends that does play a lot of video games, but one of these other friends, he probably looks at the TV probably 90% of the day, and he is in that fantasy world, you know what I mean? So he... So he's addicted to gaming to the point where he would look at the screen, as I was just saying, like for 90% of the day. Like, he won't even... I don't know, you message him, you call him, he won't answer because he's too invested into that game.
Too focused.
I wouldn't want to get to that point, because I find it addicting. I find these games really addicting, and they're designed to be addicting, of course, because they want to bring people in to play the game. But
we apologise for the pause. Wood chippers started outside, and no one wants to hear that crap. So we'll try and continue off where we left. So we were saying that games are designed to be addictive, and that is quite true. And getting addicted is a common problem nowadays, and I very much respect that point of view. No one wants to be addicted to anything. I very much get that, and I agree with you on that point.
Yeah. No, I mean, the fact is, I've got a quite addictive personality, so if I start to get really into something, I get really invested into something. So the fact of upgrading guns and getting skins and all that type of things for certain games would entice me more, and I just would rather not as well.
The way I think I would look at it is like, when you're on a diet, you have a cheat day every now and then. Yeah. And I think this could be a similar situation there, where, say, you get a game and just every now and then you pay a little bit of it. It'll last you a long time, so you're not spending a lot of money on it. But it's pretty much just like a cheat day. Every now and then you just give yourself a couple of hours to enjoy it, and
Yeah, I mean, like same with movies and stuff. I don't really watch movies either. So it's like games, movies. If it's raining or it's nighttime, then sometimes I will go, all right, bit bored. Why not play a game?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Exactly. And it's good to just give yourself a bit of time to do that. Yeah.
So it takes you away from reality sometimes. So it's quite nice.
Yeah, and sometimes it's good to escape reality just for a little bit.
Yeah,
you think to yourself, oh, I've got crap I've got to do tomorrow, but tonight I'm going to enjoy myself at least a bit.
Yeah.
And it's a good way to be. I think those are actually the biggest points we have for it. Obviously, there will be a lot of other nuances, that style of thing, but what I wanted to do today was just get two different perspectives on it.
No, it's great to hear your side of things and to know why you actually do play your video games as well.
And it's good to see yours as well, and I agree with a lot of the stuff you said for sure.
Yeah.
This wasn't going to be a majorly long episode. It was just, two different point of views on things, and we could go into a lot of detail, but I don't feel there's as much a need. We've said the basic information we need to say, and I think that's all good.
And I just want to say I appreciate you having me on the show. It's been good.
Yeah, I'd love to have you on it again.
Maybe we can discuss a game or something next time that we both have played or something. It would be great.
Yeah, let's hope so, and we'll obviously give you some time to do it. And
thank you for listening, guys.
Thank you for joining us today.
No, thank you.
And thank you, listeners, for joining. I know it's a bit of a shorter episode, but with a few other things going on, it wasn't going to be a particularly long episode, but it was one I think would be an interesting idea to talk about. This video, I'll be making a post on Facebook about it, and I would love your input on it. If you've got anything to add to the conversation, I would really love to hear it. I've been uploading my episodes to YouTube, so now you can listen to, I think, episodes 1 right to 20, and very soon I'll get the last few episodes uploaded. And there, again, any comments will be appreciated. I'd love to hear how you think I could improve the show, what you think of each episode. And with all of that said, thank you very much again.
Thank you.
And I hope you've enjoyed the episode. This is Not So Hardcore Gaming. I'm Jeremy, signing off.
And I'm
Hutchy. Forgot your own nickname for a second there.
Oh, gosh. No, thank you.
Bye, everyone.